My girlfriend and best friend swore they hated each other, until I caught them together and found out why. The people I trusted most. I used to believe that loyalty was everything. That if you gave your heart to the right people, if you loved hard and stood by them, they'd never betray you. But that was before I learned what happens when two people you love most pretend to hate each other, just to keep a secret. It started like this. I'd been with Mia for almost 2 years. She was the kind of girl who turned my world inside out. Smart, sarcastic, effortlessly beautiful. We met in our second year of college, and something just clicked. We weren't perfect, but we were solid. I trusted her. And then there was my best friend, Nate. We'd known each other since middle school, back when we both had braces and bad haircuts. He was like a brother to me. We'd been through everything. Family drama, first heartbreaks, late-night panic over college exams. He was the one person who always had my back. But from the very beginning, Mia and Nate hated each other. Like, couldn't be in the same room without tension kind of hate. Mia said Nate was immature and manipulative. Nate said Mia was a stuck-up princess who was just using me. At first, I tried to play the peacemaker. I'd laugh it off, try to keep my world separate. But over time, their hostility started creeping into everything. Mia would cancel plans if Nate was going to be there. Nate stopped coming over because he couldn't stand the way she looked at him. Eventually, I stopped bringing her to parties with him. I stopped talking to him about our relationship. And slowly, the two people I loved most became black holes on opposite sides of my life, pulling me in both directions. But I never suspected anything until that night. It was a Friday. I was supposed to meet Mia at her apartment for dinner. But my last class got canceled, so I figured I'd surprise her early. I parked a few blocks away and walked up, smiling like an idiot with her favorite flowers in hand. The door was unlocked. That should have been my first warning. I stepped inside, quietly, and heard voices. 2 voices. Muffled, but unmistakable. I crept closer. And then, I froze. Because I heard Mia's voice whisper, "He has no idea." And Nate's voice, laughing, low and intimate, saying, "That's because we're careful." The world tilted. I pushed the door open, and what I saw shattered everything I thought I knew about love, friendship, and betrayal. They were on the couch, her legs draped over his. His hand was on her thigh. They weren't even startled when I opened the door, just shocked that I had caught them. The look on Mia's face? Panic, guilt, then defiance. Nate? He looked like a deer in headlights, mouth half open, still mid-sentence when he saw me. I dropped the flowers. They hit the ground like glass. No one spoke. My heart was pounding so loudly. I swear it drowned out the silence. I don't even remember walking out. Just the sound of my own breathing, ragged and shallow, as I stumbled down the stairs and out into the night. I sat in my car for maybe half an hour. Maybe 3. I didn't cry. Not then. Just stared at the windshield, blinking, trying to process the absolute chaos now tearing through my chest. How long had this been going on? Had everything been a lie? Mia called me 17 times that night. Nate texted once. "Let's talk. You deserve to hear it all." Hear what exactly? That their hate was some twisted cover? That they'd been sneaking around behind my back while pretending to despise each other? That all the fights, the tension, the nasty comments were just a curtain drawn over something so much worse? I blocked them both. For 2 days, I didn't leave my apartment. But on the 3rd day, Mia showed up. She stood outside my door, shivering in the rain. I should have slammed the door in her face. Instead, I let her talk. She stood in my kitchen, where we used to drink coffee and dance to stupid music, and she said, "It didn't start the way you think." Yeah, that's what they all say. But I let her keep going. She told me it started 6 months ago. One night, when Nate had come over to return something I'd left at his place. I was working late, so Mia let him in. He was kind, she said, voice trembling. He actually listened to me, more than you had been lately. That one hit me like a punch. But she didn't stop there. She told me it was a kiss. Just a stupid kiss at first. One they swore wouldn't happen again. But it did. Over and over. Every time they fought in front of me, every venom-laced exchange was just misdirection. Disgust disguised desire. They weren't enemies. They were hiding. From me. And from themselves. She cried. Said she didn't know how it got that far. Said she still loved me. But here's the thing. When someone chooses betrayal once, they've already chosen it 1,000 times in their mind. And I wasn't going to be anyone's second option. I didn't scream. Didn't throw anything. Didn't call her names. though my blood boiled with every breath she took. I just stood there, silent, staring at the girl I thought I'd marry, wondering how long she had looked me in the eyes while lying straight to my face. She wiped her cheeks, stepped toward me. "I ended it," she whispered. "With him. It's over." I laughed. A bitter, joyless sound. "You ended it?" I asked. "Like that makes any of this okay?" She didn't answer. Because what could she say? It wasn't about one night. It wasn't about a mistake. It was about who she was willing to betray, and why. "You could have told me," I said. "You could have left. You didn't have to stay and fake it." She flinched. "I didn't fake anything. Except our entire relationship," I snapped. And then I told her to leave. She begged me to talk later, when emotions calmed down. But I wasn't emotional. I was done. The next day, I got a message from Nate. "If you ever want the full story, meet me at the park. Noon." I almost deleted it. But curiosity's a parasite. It doesn't die easy. So I went. He was already there. Hoodie pulled up. Same old slouch. But he didn't look like Nate. He looked older. Smaller. Guilty. He didn't even say hello. Just. I didn't mean for it to happen. They never do. She was hurting. You two were fighting all the time. You never told me what was going on, and she. I don't know. She opened up to me. I didn't respond. I let him bury himself. "I thought I was helping," he said. Then I realized I wasn't. I was just being selfish. Finally, I asked, "Why pretend to hate her?" He looked down. "Because I did hate her, for making me feel something I wasn't supposed to." And that's when it all clicked. It wasn't just betrayal. It was desire, guilt, shame, all twisted together into a sick, secret addiction. They weren't even in love. They were obsessed with the wrongness. "We weren't trying to hurt you," he said. "No," I replied coldly. "You were trying not to get caught." He opened his mouth to speak again, but I stopped him. "We're done, Nate. For good." He nodded. Maybe he even expected that. But as I walked away, something in his voice made me pause. "She didn't tell you the whole truth," he said. I turned, frowning. "What are you talking about?" "She lied about when it started. It wasn't 6 months ago." He looked me dead in the eye. "It was over a year. That's when I felt the floor vanish beneath me. A year." He said it like it meant nothing. Like he hadn't just taken a wrecking ball to every memory I had with her. Every smile, every kiss, every time she whispered, "I love you," while hiding a lie behind her teeth. My throat went dry. "Why now?" I asked, my voice shaking. "Why tell me that now?" Nate looked down at the ground like it held some sort of forgiveness. "I figured, if you knew everything, maybe you'd hate her more than you hate me." I laughed, sharp and bitter. "You're both just competing to see who I can despise more." He looked up, and for once, his face wasn't smug. It was broken. "I loved you, man. You were like a brother." "You don't do this to your brother," I said. Then I walked away, for good this time. But what he said haunted me. Over a year. That meant their affair started before our 1-year anniversary trip to Italy. Before her birthday, when she cried after I surprised her with the necklace she always wanted. Before I told her I was starting to look at engagement rings. I felt sick. But I needed to know. So I did something I swore I wouldn't. I called her. She didn't pick up. I didn't expect her to. So I sent a single text. He told me it was over a year. That true. 3 dots appeared. Then disappeared. Then silence. I stared at the screen like it might punch me in the gut again. Finally, 15 minutes later, she responded. "I didn't want to tell you. You were happy. I didn't want to destroy that." That was her justification? I almost threw my phone. Almost smashed it against the wall. Instead, I scrolled back. Looked at old photos. Her laughing in the park. Her holding my hand. Her asleep on my chest. All of it felt poison now. I couldn't sleep that night. At 3:12 a.m., I got another text from her. "It started the night you missed my art show." I felt invisible. Nate showed up. That's when it happened. That night. I remembered it. I was stuck in a finance lab with my capstone project. I told her I'd make it up to her. Apparently, Nate already had. Everything after that was built on rot. But still, there was one thing that didn't sit right. One lie that stuck out like a bone in the throat. Nate said something else at the park. A passing comment that hadn't registered at first. "She didn't tell you the whole truth. Not just about the timeline. About something else. Something worse." I couldn't stop thinking about Nate's words. "She didn't tell you the whole truth." What could possibly be worse than a year-long betrayal with my best friend? I decided to dig deeper. I needed answers, even if I didn't want to hear them. I messaged Mia again. This time I was blunt. "What else are you hiding?" The response took hours. Finally, A text appeared. Meet me at the cafe where we first met. Noon. My heart thudded. I wanted to say no, to stay far away. But I went. She was already there, sipping coffee, eyes red but defiant. I'm sorry, she said without preamble. I have to tell you everything. Not because I want forgiveness, but because you deserve to know. She took a shaky breath. There was never just one secret. Her voice cracked. There's something I never told you, or Nate. I leaned forward. She looked around nervously before whispering. I was pregnant. The world tilted. Pregnant? Yes. With Nate's child. I felt my knees weaken. She nodded. It happened a few months after we started seeing each other secretly. I didn't want to tell either of you because I was scared. Scared of what it would do to us. Scared of losing you. But you kept going. I didn't know what to do. Her tears spilled over. I had an abortion without telling either of you. I stared at her, stunned. The betrayal wasn't just emotional anymore. It was tangled in secrets that cut deeper than lies. She reached out. I'm sorry. I should have trusted you. But I was numb. There was no forgiveness left. Just a hollow ache where trust used to live. I stood up. Why did you lock me out of your life when you needed me most? She whispered. Because I was terrified you'd leave. And maybe she was right. Because after that moment, I realized I wasn't the only one broken in this mess. But some cracks run too deep to ever heal. That confession hung between us like a storm ready to break. The cafe's hum faded into silence as I struggled to grasp everything she'd just told me. She had carried this secret alone, made decisions without me, without Nate, decisions that had altered all our lives. I felt a strange mix of anger, sorrow, and something I wasn't ready to name. I asked her, why didn't you tell Nate? She looked away, biting her lip. Because I was afraid. Afraid he wouldn't want to be a father. Afraid it would ruin what little we had left. And you thought hiding it from both of us would protect us? She shook her head slowly. I don't know what I thought. The truth was heavier than I imagined. This wasn't just a love triangle. It was a web of fear, shame, and silence. As we sat there, I realized that everything I thought I knew about Mia and Nate, and even myself, was built on shifting sands. I left the cafe with more questions than answers. I called Nate that night. His voice was shaky when he answered. I know what she told you. Yeah, it's true. But there's something you need to know. My heart sank. He hesitated, then said, the night she told me she was pregnant. I told her I wanted to be there, that I'd support her. Then why didn't you? I demanded. I was scared. I told myself I wasn't ready. But really, I was scared of losing you. His voice cracked with guilt. I chose friendship over responsibility. The weight of his words crushed me. They had both been trapped in lies, fear, and betrayal, each running from what they truly wanted to face. I realized then that this wasn't just about cheating. It was about broken people making broken choices. But broken or not, I couldn't stay tangled in their mess. I needed to find myself again, outside the shadows of their secrets. The days after that conversation felt like wading through thick fog. I was numb but haunted. Haunted by memories that now seemed like lies, by smiles that had been masks, and by a future that suddenly felt impossible. I stopped returning Mia's calls, ignored Nate's texts. I needed space, to think, to breathe, to decide who I was without them. But one night, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Mia. Can we meet? One last time. Please. I debated for hours. Part of me wanted closure. Another part just wanted to forget everything and move on. Finally, I replied, fine. One last time. We met in the park where we first held hands. She looked fragile, like a storm had passed through and left her broken but standing. I'm sorry, she said simply. For everything. I nodded. Me too. We talked, really talked, about the pain, the secrets, the mistakes. About the years lost to fear and deception. She said she wanted to be honest, to start over, even if that meant starting apart. For the first time, I saw her not as the woman who betrayed me, but as a human being, scared, flawed, and searching for redemption. I realized I had to do the same. That night, I decided to forgive, not for her, but for me. To let go of the anger that was poisoning my heart. To reclaim my life from the wreckage they left behind. But forgiving didn't mean forgetting. And it definitely didn't mean I was ready to trust again. Just as I began to piece my life back together, thinking maybe some healing was possible, the unthinkable happened. A mutual friend sent me a photo, Mia and Nate, laughing, Close, too close, at a party neither had told me about. It was like a punch to the gut. They had moved on, together. All the apologies, all the tears, all the talk of starting over, just words to cover the real truth. The truth was, they never stopped being in each other's lives. I felt like I'd been gaslit by both people I trusted most. That night, I sat alone, the weight of betrayal crushing down like a storm. I realized this wasn't just a messy breakup. It was a final act of deception, a reminder that some wounds don't heal, they just scar, and that sometimes, the people you love the most are the ones who hurt you deepest. The pain was sharp and relentless, but slowly, it began to dull, not because I forgot, but because I chose to stop letting it define me. I blocked their numbers. I unfollowed their lives on social media. I deleted the photos and mementos that kept dragging me back into the nightmare. Instead, I started focusing on me, my passions, my goals, my friendships that had nothing to do with betrayal or lies. I reconnected with people who reminded me of who I truly was, not the version shattered by deceit. I threw myself into work, into long runs through the city, into late-night writing sessions where I poured out my pain onto the page. And in that process, I found strength I didn't know I had. Strength to forgive, not for their sake, but for mine. Strength to trust again, cautiously but bravely. Strength to believe that even after the worst heartbreak, life can still surprise you. Because this story, my story, isn't just about betrayal. It's about survival and the fierce, unbreakable power of the human heart. Months passed. Seasons changed. The scars faded, but the lessons stayed. One evening, I met someone new, someone who didn't carry shadows in her eyes or secrets in her smile. Her name was Clara. We started slowly, cautiously, building trust brick by brick. No lies, no hidden rooms, just honesty. One night, as we walked under the city lights, she asked me about my past. I didn't hide it. I told her everything. The love, the betrayal, the heartbreak, and the healing. She listened without judgment, only with kindness. And in that moment, I realized that love doesn't have to hurt. That sometimes, breaking is just the first step to becoming whole again. I'm not the same person I was before Mia and Nate. I'm stronger, wiser, ready to love and be loved. This is my story, a story of betrayal, pain, and ultimate redemption. And if you've ever been broken by the people you trusted most, remember this. You can rise. You will rise. Because no matter how dark the night, the dawn always comes.